Alright, so now that we went over the pros and cons for both physical media and streaming services, which one do I recommend? First, let me say that my recommendation might differ from your use case, but assuming you're using both streaming services and you own or have access to physical media and you want the best experience and the highest fidelity possible, what's up YouTube? I'm Haterade Cowboy. Welcome back to my channel. And with the pandemic still looming over us, many of us find ourselves stuck at home or just not wanting to go out in the world as much, which has its advantages and its disadvantages. With the advantages being, we get to spend more time at home either by ourselves or with our families. And seeing as a lot of our time spent at home involves watching TV shows and movies, it begs a question: physical media or streaming? So in this video, I want to highlight the pros and the cons, the advantages and the disadvantages of both physical media and streaming services. And stay tuned to the end of the video to find out which one I recommend. Also, feel free to jump around with the chapter markers. Alright, let's start with the pros of physical media. Advantage number 1. The biggest advantage of physical media over streaming is always going to be higher bit rates and lossless audio. This is possible because all the information is stored on a physical disk, so you don't have to worry about internet speeds or if the internet goes out or if a streaming service has an outage. And since disks don't need to rely on the internet, you don't have to worry about buffering. And you can also rip your Blu-rays and 4K discs to a 1-to-1 copy, meaning you can rip your movies and TV shows into a digital format for personal use without any compression, unlike streaming services, which we'll talk about later. You control the content. Now, as I've said before, when you buy a physical disc, it's yours forever. And that means you can utilize ripping software like Make MKV to rip your movies into a digital format, preserving the lifespan of your physical disc. But once that disc is ripped, you can turn around and build your own movie server with the likes of Plex or MB, giving you complete control over what you want to watch. Which brings me to the next advantage of physical media: a home movie server. With streaming services, sometimes there may be a movie that you want to watch, but that streaming service may not have the movie on their servers. With physical media, you can rip all your movies and create your own movie server, and you'll basically have a backup of all your movies in a digital format. And as long as your digital media doesn't get corrupted, you'll never have to pick up a disc and put it into a Blu Ray player ever again. Now, this next pro might seem like moot since it's dying technology, but physical media gives you the opportunity to view movies in 3D. Yes, 3D, for movies that support it at least. Now, while 3D technology is completely dead on TVs, most projectors still offer the feature, and you might still have a TV that supports 3D. You're not going to find any streaming services that offer 3D content. So, if you still want that three-dimensional experience, go with physical media. Alright, now let's talk about the cons. Huge physical disc libraries can get very expensive. A new 4K Blu-ray can cost anywhere between $29 and $35. And that's not including steelbooks or box sets. And depending on how many discs you buy in a year, in a few years, you've already racked up thousands of dollars. Storage space. Physical media takes up space, requiring shelving or cases. And if you're ripping your media, it also requires physical storage with hard drives. And if you've got hundreds of discs, you can easily exceed 10 to 20 terabytes, which larger size hard drives can get very expensive as well. Now, some of you may not know what this next con is, but it's Blu Ray Obfuscation. What in the world is that? Many Blu-ray discs use title obfuscation to prevent copying the disc contents to hard drives by hiding the main movie or episode files. If you look at a Blu-ray disc with the ripping program, such as Make MKV, you'll see hundreds of titles that are many gigabytes each, so much in fact that there's no way that all that data can fit on the disc. Now, there are programs that are supposed to reveal the main movie title, but they can be expensive and they don't always work. Blu Ray obfuscation is only an issue if you plan on ripping a disc. But more than likely, you won't have to deal with that, as I've only seen a few handfuls of Blu-rays that employ this janky jank. But if you do come across this jank, there's really no way around it and you won't be able to rip it. Alright, now let's talk about the pros of streaming services. The first advantage to streaming services is cheap monthly costs. Most streaming services hover around about $10 a month. HBO Max is $9.99 a month. Disney Plus is $7.99 a month. And Apple TV Plus is a whoppingly low $4.99 a month. However, this pricing is not always so cut and dry. For instance, with Disney Plus, you can pay $7.99 a month, which sounds cheap, but multiply that times 12, and that's $96 a year. Or you can pay for a year upfront and shave off $20 by paying $79.99 a year. And then some streaming services offer bundles, where you pay more and get other streaming services bundled in. And then there's tier pricing, where you're forced to watch commercials on the cheaper plan, but if you want commercial-free viewing, they'll tack on an extra few dollars per month. So really, this one could go under pro or con. Streaming services are widely supported and easily accessible on multiple platform devices such as the NVIDIA Shield TV, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Xbox, PlayStation, cell phones, tablets, computers, Sony and Samsung TVs, and Blu-ray players, and many more TVs and devices that I didn't even mention. And many of these streaming services provide dedicated apps on their respective devices, so chances are you've probably got at least one device in your home with access to all the major streaming services. Account sharing. Some streaming services allow you to share your account with family and friends, which wasn't always a thing. However, some terms apply. According to Netflix's terms of service, your account is for personal and non-commercial use only and may not be shared with individuals beyond your household. But this is where things get a bit tricky. Members of your household can be understood as family members or roommates that currently live at the same address and presumably use the same internet connection. But what happens if you want to share your account with your boyfriend or girlfriend or a family member if they live in another city? Although technically against terms of service, this is a common occurrence that Netflix doesn't seem to take issue with. There's plenty of anecdotal evidence of users sharing accounts with partners or family members that live in different cities or even different countries without a problem. A poll conducted on Android Authority also showed that many people share their digital streaming logins with others. However, the number of profiles you can create per account does not correlate with the number of devices that you can simultaneously stream on Netflix. Your price plan will determine that. Here's how many screens you can enjoy the service at the same time according to your plan. There's the Netflix Basic plan, which is $9.99 per month and allows you to watch on one screen. Then there's the Netflix Standard, which is $15.49 per month and allows you to watch on two screens. Finally, there's Netflix Premium, which is $19.99 per month, which allows you to watch on 4 screens. Now, if you have a basic plan, that doesn't mean that you can't share it with a family member or a friend. You'll just have to watch Netflix at different times of the day, or find something to watch together on one screen. Is this thing on? Oh, hey, what's up? This is my theater. Welcome to the channel and thank you for watching. If this is your first time visiting the channel, or you're a returning viewer, and you enjoy the content that I produce here, do me a solid. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you know when I post new content. And if you're enjoying this video, hit that like button. Tell your friends and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Is that it? Can we cut? Offline downloading. More and more streaming services are adding a download directly to your device feature that allows you to view content offline without needing Wi-Fi or internet to view. This feature comes in handy if you're traveling and is super convenient. But you must have a current subscription to use this feature. If you unsubscribe, then that data becomes inaccessible, even if you still have it downloaded on your device. Watch parties. Now, this feature isn't widely supported by all the major streaming services yet, but Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus allow you to sync up content with friends and family and watch together in real time, and you can even send emojis and reactions during your watch party. Now, Plex also has a watch together feature that works, but it's a little bit more limited due to bandwidth and upload and download speeds per individual. Alright, now let's talk about the cons. The first con is going to be video and audio compression. Where this is physical media's strongest appeal, since there is no compression, video and audio compression is streaming services' biggest downfall. Since there is no universal standard on ISP or internet service providers, depending on where you live, the speeds offered in your location, and what a person can afford, download speeds can vary widely by household. And since millions of people are accessing content simultaneously on streaming services, companies are forced to compress their audio and video files in order to provide as close as they can a streamlined experience for all. This leaves much to be desired, and can leave a person feeling unimpressed with streaming service quality. You're tied to a monthly service. While the convenience of a streaming service is nice, you are tied to a monthly service and their pricing. However, most companies allow you to cancel at any time without being penalized, and if you cancel early enough during your billing period, you can cancel and still enjoy viewing content until your next billing period comes around. Content can be removed at any time. Now, this is not an issue with physical media, but with streaming services, they too rely on storage, only in a much more massive capacity with server farms. Hard drives still fill up though, so streaming services will occasionally cycle through content in favor of more recent or relevant content. Now, this happened to me just recently watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Netflix. Even though I've seen every episode when it aired live, it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time, so I wanted to watch it from the beginning. And I made it to season 5, but halfway through, Netflix alerted me that I only had a few days left to watch. So just be aware that if you plan on watching a series with multiple seasons, unless it's a Netflix exclusive or an Amazon exclusive or some other streaming service exclusive, content can and will be removed, possibly while you're engrossed in that movie or series. Which leads me to my next con. You have no control over the media you watch on streaming services. Not to mention, you must abide by that service's terms of service. And to be honest, how many people actually sit down and read those terms of service to know what you're actually agreeing to when you click agree? Exclusives. It seems that every streaming service has an exclusive show or movie now that force you to sign up if you want to watch it. Which is super frustrating because maybe you don't have a subscription to that service and you only want to watch that one show. Well, that adds up. $9.99 here, $12.99 there. Before you know it, you can easily spend $50 a month on streaming services. And if you only signed up for that one show, and that show ends, now what? And don't you dare forget to cancel your subscription, lest you get charged another month. Raised pricing over time. This is probably the most annoying thing about streaming services. Now, these companies are making money hand over fist, and still have the audacity to raise prices on us. It seems like Netflix raises their prices every 6 months. In fact, just the other day, one of my friends messaged me and told me that he got an email from Netflix saying that they're going to raise the prices again. Now, when YouTube TV first started, it was only $39.99 a month with no contract, cancel at any time. Now it's like $80 a month, which is where most cable plans sit. All right, that last con was more of a rant, but we all agree raising prices is super annoying. All right, so now that we went over the pros and cons for both physical media and streaming services, which one do I recommend? First, let me say that my recommendation might differ from your use case. But assuming you're using both streaming services and you own or have access to physical media and you want the best experience and the highest fidelity possible, I'm gonna go with physical media on this one. And the reason is because you have the option to rip those physical discs into a digital format and make your own media server using something like Plex. Now, if you don't know how to do that, I have some videos and tutorials on my channel, so make sure you check those out. You'll end up spending more time ripping those discs, especially if you have hundreds or even thousands. But in the long run, it's worth it, at least to me, because not only can you create your own Netflix, But you can also take those hard drives with your digital copies and plug them directly into a Blu-ray player that supports that function, and you won't be reliant on your network. You also have multiple options for digital formats when ripping your media to digital. The two major formats are MP4 and MKV, with the latter being the most popular. And you can remux or compress those same digital files into smaller files if you'd like to save space. But if you absolutely don't care about fidelity and you just want convenience, you just want to turn on your TV, open your streaming app of choice, and hit play, then absolutely go with streaming. All right, guys, well, those are my thoughts on physical media or streaming, especially in 2022. Hopefully this helps you make a decision on whether or not you should go with streaming or physical media. Now, everybody's use case is going to be different, and you may have different thoughts than I do on the subject. So why don't you go ahead and let me know in the comments which one you prefer and why. Do you prefer physical discs or streaming? Once again, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate all those that are supporting the channel and helping the channel grow, and I still have a lot of growth. So if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you know when I post new content. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Haterade Cowboy, and this is Haterade Cowboy Cinema.